segment 3 of the 2023 softball mid-season feature, or working title in progress. We've got pitcher Sydney the Smoking Gun, I hope you like that nickname, Nestor, joining us for a little bit. Talk about this Herd softball team, talk about her trajectory with the Herd, and so far kind of what this season is shaping up to look like. So let's get right into it. Sid, first, thanks for taking a few minutes and sitting down and chilling with us and chopping it up a little bit. We're going to have a good time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate this opportunity and appreciate the support, and I'm excited to be here.
Well, this is I'm glad you see this as an opportunity. This is way cooler for us than it is for you, I think. At least it is definitely for me. 2022, right? Great season for you in the Kelly Green. 26-11, 2.36 ERA, 228 innings pitched, 294 strikeouts. Opposing batters only racked up a 204 batting average against you, and that was in just 37 games. 2023, what the heck is going on here? 18-2 already, 0.81 ERA, 129 innings pitched, 159 strikeouts. Opposition is batting a mere 0.147 against you through 34 games. Now, look, 2022 saw you as Conference USA's Pitcher of the Year and Newcomer of the Year, and wait for it, first team All-Conference USA. What in the hell has happened between 2022 and 2023 to make you even more unhittable?
I think it's honestly just being a fifth-year senior, to be honest. I'm old and I'm sad and I don't want to leave Marshall and I don't want to finish softball. And so I think that has I want to do well for my last year and I want to enjoy every second I have and I want to hog up as many innings and strike out as many people as I can. And so I think going from last year where I was like, oh, I have one more year left, to this year, this is it. And so I'm trying to take just every single opportunity that I have and just doing the best I can. And I think that's just the difference between last year and this year. I don't have time. So
I mean, really, you come off of this great year. I mean, what do you say? You're like, well, I'm going to be more dominant in 2023. And it's one thing to say that, but it's a whole nother thing to do it and then to continue to do it. I mean, it can't be just, I want to do it, because everybody would do it, right? There's got to be something. Like, what did you change the way you prepared in the off season? Did you do something new? Is it a little bit maybe of the new league? Just all these hitters haven't figured you out yet. I mean, what the heck? Because we're seeing some all-time greatness here. We really are.
Right. I don't think there's any secret sauce to it. I think it's just, being around coaches that love me and I love them, and my teammates love me and I love them, and I love Marshall and Marshall loves me. And so I think it's just going out there one last time and just having those emotions kind of bottled up and just going after it. And I think just having the experience I did last year and just kind of building off of that. And I knew that I could do, I had confidence in myself last year, but even more so this year. And I'm just going with the flow and doing what I can.
Well, it's something to watch.
It's working, whatever it is working. So you mentioned a lot of things there, the coaches, the team, and the school, and we have been preaching that it is family for softball and everything. You guys also have a lot of fun. You've been at a couple of different places now, so tell us about how fun it is on this team, the family atmosphere, how special it is.
Well, I mean, I think y'all have seen this before, but we literally dance before every single game, and I've never seen that before. I've never witnessed that before, and so I just think that speaks volume of how loose we are, how much fun we have. And yes, it is serious, and softball is what we do, and we want to win, but also at the same time, we get 4 or 5 years to play the game, and so us being able to dance and do funny cheers and have, team dinners at Coach Smith's house, but then also come back and kick ass. That's pretty special, I think. And so I think one of the big things that I've taken away as far as Marshall softball, having a family atmosphere is having team dinners at Coach Smith's house.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if y'all think that's weird,
No.
but Autumn and
No.
I, we talk all the time. Okay, well, I think, Autumn and I talk all the time, and we're like, can you believe, like, we're at our coach's house having dinner with our whole team? We know where our coach lives. Like, I don't think y'all understand, and I don't think a lot of people understand how insane that is, like how insanely awesome that is. That's
Yeah.
not creepy, but it's like special, And
Yeah.
so I just think having the opportunity to really bond and connect both with our teammates, but also with a deeper level with our coaches, I think that is just something unheard of, really.
It
So
shows
that's
how
another
much
thing
they
that
care.
I love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it shows how much
Yeah.
they care.
Let me make you look cooler,
Yeah.
by the way. Let me add some flavor to this interview. I don't find that to be odd at all. In fact, I find that to be relatively normal, and maybe it's just part of the world that we come from in that West Virginia tight knit, family community type thing that's really statewide.
Yeah.
That's not odd to
Right.
me, because we did that. I did that growing up. We did that in high school a little bit. It might not have been the entire team at the coach's house, but it was we had dinners and stuff like that. So that's not
Mhm.
surprising to me. And actually, I think folks that will listen to this, that hear you say that will strike a chord with them in their heart, and they'll go, I knew there was something else that I liked about this team that I didn't know about. That's the type of stuff.
Mhm.
That's the good stuff. That's the stuff that well, what's the word, Russ? It's a differentiator. It is. It's a differentiator from other programs. That makes us feel good. Sid,
Yeah, for sure.
Oftentimes, it appears that you are just in your own little world, like laser focused, and there's nothing else happening when you're in that circle, right? And I don't know if you can do this, but I want you to try if you can. Can you explain to me what you see or what you feel when you know that you're in the zone? When you know it, what does everything go away?
Well, the first thing that I think about is, so Coach Hollab, she has us get into like a kill zone, and hitters do this as well before they go and they get on the on deck circle and stuff. But when we have 2 outs, pitchers sit on the bench, and you kind of have this mental imagery, this mental, affirmation type stuff. And so I literally will look at the ground, and I'm like, I pound, I attack, I throw strikes, and those 3 things literally are on rotation throughout my brain. And so when I get on the mound, I have a routine. I lick my fingers. I don't know if y'all have caught that, but every pitch I lick my fingers. But those 3 things are like going through my mind. And so it's pretty much like I pound, I dominate, I'm going to throw strikes. And so it's almost like a confident CD record or something playing in my head a little bit. And it's really just me and Autumn, and that's all I see pretty much. And it is kind of like tunnel vision. It's just me and Autumn, and that record playing. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's just very locked in, just doing what I can.
See, I mentioned
pounding
that.
and
I
throwing
mentioned that
strikes.
this last weekend because we were watching the game, and there was a point in you got into a little bit of a jam. You got a couple of runners on, 1 out, and it's like, all right, what do we do? And then it's like this switch just kind of flipped, and you strike out the next 2 batters to close out the inning. It was like, and I tweeted at that point, like, Sid has a command of the game. That's what I called it. It was just, look at this command of the game in the situation. And that to me is so interesting because I was never a high performer to the level of you and Autumn and some of your other teammates. So I wasn't able to find out how to do that. Right. So it's always intriguing to me to learn how the mind of a really, really good player goes from good to great. And that you explained it perfectly.
And in those situations, I'm pretty sure I know which exactly the inning and the situation that you're talking about. But if I know, I think it was on Sunday's game or something, there was a runner at third base, and I was telling myself, this runner's not going to score.
Yeah.
They're not going to get a hit. They're not going to score. And so that was just kind of on repeat. And my body just kind of took over. I went back to, I've practiced this a million trillion times, and I'm just going to let everything be, and they're not going to score. So.
I think that's a very important lesson that you just said without knowing you said that, because how many times throughout your career have your coaches or your parents or whoever just said, trust what you know? Don't get in caught up in the moment. Just trust what you know. And that's exactly what you just told me. So, all these players, future players, coaches, whoever might be listening to this, that is an excellent piece of advice, right? It's not just cliche. It's true. This is from a really dominant pitcher telling you this. This is what I do. This is not your coach saying, "Oh, just don't get caught up in the moment. Stay focused." What more can you ask for?
It's easy to overthink, and it's easy to it's easy to overthink, and it's easy to kind of get away from, hey, I've been pitching since I was 10 years old, so why not trust it?
Yeah.
And Sid, I have to say, what you described as your preparation for going out there to pitch, I'm the exact same way at a buffet. I just I get in the zone. I just say, look, I attack, I dominate. I mean, it's uncanny how similar it is. All joking aside, I asked this of Autumn. We assign nicknames that sometimes they're received, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're very goofy. But who has the best nickname on the team in your head? Who do you think it is?
Oh goodness. I don't know. We just have, gosh, I can't, y'all have to tell me what Autumn said after what I say, but I don't know. I think Grace, she's known by G, and I think that's pretty tough, kind of, I think that's just super tough. Gosh, I'm trying to think. Cam has a nickname, HGC, that's Hot Girl Cam. I think that fits her perfectly, just with the way that she carries herself and the way that she performs and how competitive she is. And Sid Bickle, everybody calls her Pickle because of her last name.
Oh my God, my daughter just said that. We were watching the game in the stands, and she said, "Did they say Sid Bickle?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, if I were friends with her, I'd call her Bickle Pickle." And I'm like, okay.
That's a daily nickname for her.
No, she Autumn told us that she liked what did she call it?
Abby Darling's name.
Yeah,
Darling.
Yeah. She mentioned that when she said, "I like that one."
Yeah, mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
well, at this point, look, G is pretty good, right? But at this point, Grace is getting up there in years with us. So now she's kind of an OG. Mm-hmm. She's not just a G. She's an OG. I mean, the nickname thing is obviously pretty front and center, and my mind works. Russ's mind works. It's just how we assimilate things. I am really glad that you like that I call you the smoking gun, because I think that's pretty cool. And I really was hoping you weren't sitting there going, God, I wish this dude would quit. That is lame as hell. So I'm glad that was a hit and not a miss. That one I appreciate. So I asked this one of Autumn, and this will be interesting coming from a pitcher's viewpoint. Who do you think is the most clutch player on this team? And offensive, defensive, whatever. Who's the most clutch player on this team?
I think offensively, I think it's Grace. And I think that goes from her being at the starting lineup last year to this year, she's batting 4-hole. And I think clutch is the definition of what she did when they walked Autumn and then she hits a home run. I just think that is badass. I think that is literally clutch.
Yep.
And she has owned that spot all season long, and she has taken advantage of, using her power, but also using her speed. And so she has just done it all really this season. And I think she's clutch all the way around. She's clutch in the outfield, takes advantage of whatever ball that she can catch, but also offensively, she's a dog. So
yeah. That was such a baller move, man. Just deciding to go ahead and hit that 3-run shot. That was so baller. Man, that was big time stuff. Yeah. You're right. That was probably, off the top of my head, that was one of the most clutch plays that I can recall. I can't sit here and tell you I remember every play all the time in every game, but man, that was cool in real time. And Russ picked up on it in real time. I was watching the stream, doing some stuff around the house, and I come back to see Russ as, walking Autumn Owen to face Grace Chellerman to have her hit a 3-run home run. That's a bold strategy, and I'm not sure it's one that other teams will try to replicate.
Yeah, I was there and I hopped up, and actually Christian Spears was sitting right next to me, and we both just shot up in our seats because the dugout right there, when you're sitting, kind of blocks the fence and the foul pole and all that. So we just hopped up, and there was no question it was gone. It hit the tracks, but that was great. I posted yesterday that I feel that Marshall softball is not getting the respect that it deserves, and also the individual players. And I'm speaking nationally. I don't mean here at Marshall. I think everyone here at Marshall knows what we have, and they give you the credit that where it's due. But what do you think about nationally? Do you think that you guys are not getting the limelight? I guess you should, the respect. I mean, and if so, what does that do for you as a competitor?
I think it is what it is. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, it's my last year. I've got other things to worry about. I'm trying to hog up as much innings and time with my teammates and my coaches and at Marshall as I can, and keep our season going as long as it can. And so that's my focus. And if they want to recognize us, that's fine. If they don't, it's maybe last year, coming in, I think last year I wanted more recognition and, to pose our success a little bit more. But this year I've got a different focus and a different outlook on what's important, I think. And so, recognition, and it is what it is. But I think as far as a competitor, yeah, it kind of lights a little bit of fire under our team, but also we've got to the point where we expect ourselves to win and we know what to do to win. And so that's just kind of what we're sticking to at the moment. And if they decide to recognize us, today or tomorrow or 2 months from now, it is what it is. Yeah. So I don't really have too much opinion on this. I know that it's a big topic within sports and athletics for Marshall, but it is what it is.
That's a great answer.
That's
I can respect that, man. Because look, Sid, does it really change how good this team is if there's a number in front of Marshall? No, it doesn't. No. All that means is it's more likely that most teams face you won't respect you, and then they'll get clipped. And that to me is more satisfying. So,
for sure.
Let's hit home a little bit here. We hear that term thrown around a lot, dot magic. Right. And it's a real thing. It's not just a slogan. Right. And I'm learning that kind of means some of the same things to a lot of people, but some different things to some people. So what does that dot magic, what does that mean to you?
I think it's just the environment. I mean, at my previous school at NC State, only parents showed up. And this, at Marshall, we've got older fans, we've got younger fans, we've got little girls and little boys coming. We've got, Dot Hicks herself coming to the games. I've met a bunch of, super fans. Jamie Irwin, he's there all the time, and he has made special projects and, given them to Marshall softball. And I've never had that before in a college experience. And so just having people not directly associated with Marshall softball come up to you and know your name and come to all your games. Like I know Autumn, she might have said this, but her professors come to games. And I think that's just so special. And I think just the community coming to the games, that's what makes Dot Magic pretty much. Just having that environment, and just enjoying being at home, because sleeping in your own bed, that's nice. And so I think that has to do a little bit with Dot Magic and just being comfortable at the field, but just the people surrounding Dot is just amazing.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing, man. We really do have it. I say it almost gets like to sound like a broken record, but we've got something really cool going in Huntington, West Virginia, man. And if folks don't want to pay attention, that's cool, because there's a lot of people that are paying attention and they're enjoying what's going on. They're enjoying what you guys are doing on the field. They're enjoying what you're doing out in the community, So that's the magic part to me. I'm 880 miles away from Huntington, West Virginia, and I feel that magic on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or you know what I mean, during a game just as much as if I were sitting in the stands. Now, yeah, I'd rather be sitting in the stands, but I feel it that far away, all the way down here. It's just such a cool thing, man. You guys have created what you've hoped to create, or are carrying on what was created and taking it to another level. I know some of your softball alums appreciate it and see it first and foremost, and I think they're probably the ones that are the most appreciative, because you're carrying on and improving on what they probably tried to build. So it makes them feel good, right? You guys are just flat killing it, man. We couldn't be happier for you.
All right. So my final question, and I asked this very similar to Autumn, being as locked in and as hardcore as you can get, you guys also have fun before the games. We talked about this as part of the routine. So how important is that aspect of it? You know, the pregame dancing, the handshake circle that Corey does, which we think is just crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
But how important is that to your routine and still being able to be laser focused? Does it help?
I think it does. I think it took a little bit of an adjustment because I'm a pretty locked in, very in the zone type person. And so last year when I saw somebody dancing in the on deck circle, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes me like very anxious and nervous. Like we need to lock in. But then whoever it was came up and like hit a double off the fence. And so that's just who we are. And that's something that I've had, come around to. But, the routines as far as the handshakes, the dancing and stuff, I think that's mega important. As much stress and as much pressure that we put on ourselves for these games and to win and to have success, I think it is just as important to relax and to have some fun and to make those connections with the handshakes and to also kind of unify a little bit with the dances. And so I think as much of an importance that locking in and focusing is, enjoying it and kind of having a little bit more of a fun light to things is just as important.
Man, I've got a couple more for you too, but that was a really good answer. We are learning now that there is a true dichotomy to this team. There is a yin and a yang, and there's a time for fun and there's a time for business. But I think this team, unlike any other I've seen, even last year's softball team, the lines get blurred with that fun and business so well that you never really can fully tell when it's all business and when there's a little bit of fun in there, because you guys make it look so easy. But I also asked Autumn, I'm going to ask the rest of the gals we talked to, how do you get prepared? We talked about what you do in the inning, in game, preparing to walk out into the circle again, but you've got to start the game first. So how do you get locked in? What's the mindset? What do you do? Do you have a routine, like something you got to check all the boxes to get locked in for the game? What's that process for you?
I don't really think that I have a specific process. It's just, I like to come to the field early. I don't like to be rushed. And so coming to the field with plenty of time to, make sure that I put on my socks correctly and make sure that everything feels good. Just not being rushed. I think that's the first thing for every game day morning. But really, as far as my bullpen beforehand, the pregame process, I like to also feel my emotions a little bit. I like to feel those nerves and I like to feel kind of like the anticipation. And I kind of like lean into those. My dad used to tell me that feeling those means you're alive. And so I just like to feel those things, and I like to feel the excitement of the game beforehand, before kind of shutting it down and locking in. But there's no specific things that I have to run through. Really, it's just kind of to relax, stay in a good mind frame, a good mindset, and then just kind of trust in myself. So nothing too special, nothing too crazy. Just making sure I have time and
just pure raw talent. No big deal. No big deal. Nothing that I can. No. Last one for me, and I got four quick ones that I want just quick answers for, but this is the big one. What is it that's so special about this team versus last year's team? Like they're the same but different. So what is it that's the little something special about this 2023 squad? And what's the goal for the rest of the year?
Something that's different and that sets, this year apart from others is, I think, just the bond and the love that we have for each other. I think it was very apparent when we all got together last fall. We all came from different places and different backgrounds, and we were all different personalities, but we meshed. We were able to enjoy time with each other, and we really have connected on a whole different level compared to previous years and stuff like that. But I think just the love that we have for each other, and that has transitioned to the grit that we show on the field, our performance. And so I really think that the team chemistry and the love that we have for each other has just made everything else happen. And that's really been the difference. And I think our goal, I know that our goal is to win a conference championship. I personally would like to knack on and add, going to a regional. Obviously, if you win, you go to a regional, but I want to go to a regional super bad. And so that's one of my personal goals. But for a team, we want to win, and we want to win big. So,
yeah, I think you're doing that. Great start so far, putting the Sun Belt a little bit on notice that they might have slept on Herd softball coming in. Some of them still kind of want to, but it's getting harder and harder to do that. Sid, thanks for sitting down with us, spending a little bit of time. What we like to do at the end of these kind of cool things we get to do is we quiet down and we give you an open mic for a minute or two just to say whatever you want to say to whoever you want to say it to. So I'm going to do that, and then 4 quick ones, and then we'll get you out of here.
Cool. I don't know. I think you say these fun type of things that y'all do. I think they make me super thankful and grateful for my own experience. Oh God, I'm going to get choked up, but I don't know. I'm just very thankful, very excited. And, time just goes by really too quick. And so it's just, God, yesterday, all of my heartstrings are just being plugged recently, but I don't know. It's just a lot of emotions that I'm feeling, and this season has been fabulous to say the least. And so I'm just feeling all the emotions, and that's my open mic. Really, it's just I'm feeling a lot of emotions, and I'm just super thankful and appreciative to my family and to softball in general and to Marshall and my teammates. And I don't know. It's been a great ride and the joy of my life. And yep.
Well, hell, wasn't ready for that. Here's the good news.
I wasn't ready either.
Let me give you 2 great pieces of news. Number one, you don't stop being a daughter of Marshall just because you're done playing. It gets really fun to be an alum. Right. So you've got the rest of your life to enjoy Herd athletics and Marshall softball from a totally different viewpoint. And it does get really enjoyable. Number 2, you happen to have one of the biggest grizzly bears of a guy in your coaching staff to give you the biggest hug right now because you're feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a nice little, so let me step away from the camera and just feel good for a minute. But listen, thanks for opening up a little bit. I mean, I wasn't expecting that to go this way, and I appreciate that as a Marshall alum, as just a son of Marshall, as just a guy that loves his university. It makes me feel good that players feel this way about my school. Oftentimes as fans, we want our players to feel as strongly about the Herd as we do, and sometimes we come across that, and we just came across that.